Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm going to be giving my on second thought about the 2009 A Christmas Carol. This is the one that was adapted and directed by Robert Zemeckis. This is your spoiler warning. If for whatever reason you haven't seen any of these A Christmas Carols and you don't know the plot at all, then I feel sorry for you. You had a horrible Christmas life. You should fix that this year. Watch at least one of them. There's tons to choose from and tons of great ones to choose from. So you should go watch one of those and then come back and we'll talk about this one. So, like I said, this is the one directed by Robert Zemeckis and it's starring Jim Carrey and Gary Oldman predominantly in this movie. There's some other actors, but honestly, it's just these two actors and they play multiple roles each. So just like in Polar Express where Tom Hanks was able to play multiple roles, Jim Carrey and Gary Oldman are both able to play multiple roles in this. Jim Carrey plays Scrooge as well as all of the ghosts, and Gary Oldman plays Bob Cratchit, but he plays more than just that too. They both play a lot of characters, honestly. This is also the most recent adaptation of A Christmas Carol, I believe. If not, it's the most recent mainstream adaptation that was in theaters and all of that. It came out in '09, so that's a decade ago already. Wow, time flies. And there's things about this movie that I love that they did that nobody else really did as well as they did. I think every A Christmas Carol adaptation has something like that in it. Like I was talking about in that video where I ranked all of the Christmas carols, no adaptation is perfect and no adaptation is completely wrong. Certain elements done perfectly and other elements are kind of just left to the wayside. The elements in this version that I really love the way that he's able to move around through time and how he's able to not interact with people, how he's able to like have people walk right through him, and I love the just different emotional feels of different situations. I love how Jim Carrey's Scrooge has just a little bit of humor, but he's still Scrooge. There's a lot of great little things like that, but there's also problems with this movie. I think the ability and the advantage of having the special effects in this movie that no other adaptation has had led to them having a bunch of silly things as well. They were able to do things that nobody else could, so they went over the top too much. And there's a couple instances that are really easy to point out where the ghost of Christmas yet to come comes after Scrooge. It turns into this big over-the-top chase scene, and during that chase scene is then when he sees other stuff happen. He gets shrunk down to the size of a mouse, and he gets thrown up way into the air, and it's just like, this to me took away from the plot and it didn't need to be in there. It kind of felt like it was pandering to a younger audience, like they were gonna get bored. So here's some action and entertainment for you. And then there's also comedy elements that are thrown in there at times that they shouldn't be. You've got the part where Marley as a ghost has come to Scrooge and he's talking to him and his jaw detaches, and that's accurate. That's happened in many versions, but in this one it's just a little over the top where when he goes to re-tie the bandage holding his jaw in place, he ties it too tightly and his bottom lip goes over top of his nose and he starts and it's like no. There's this scene where he's at the Fezziwig work party and Mr. Fezziwig and Mrs. Fezziwig are dancing and they're these big like frog-like looking people and they just jump into the air and like levitate in air. And it's like, why? I don't like that. But honestly, once you get past those three moments, the rest of it's done at least pretty well to really well. And I really like Jim Carrey's I almost said Grinch. I really like Jim Carrey's Scrooge. I think he does a really good job of the different subtleties of it, where he's this heartbroken man when it comes down to it. He's been hurt so many times, and you see that in the way he makes expressions. The animation in this movie is phenomenal when it comes to facial animation, and I just love the emotion you see in his face in different scenes when he's realizing what he's done. He's remembering his life, and it's just painful to see at times. Some of it's done better in different versions. I'm not saying this version is perfect at all. It's about as middle of the road as you can get. So I enjoy it, but I'm enjoying it because I enjoy Jim Carrey's acting and I enjoy Gary Oldman's acting. Gary Oldman is also great in this. He plays Bob Cratchit predominantly, and his reaction to Tiny Tim dying in the alternate version of the future is so well done. Once again, you could find a better version of it, but he's one of the best versions of it because you just see the way he has this heartbreak. And Scrooge is watching him from the staircase, and then Cratchit goes to go upstairs, and he pauses, almost like he sees Scrooge, and they're like face to face. Even though he doesn't see Scrooge, Scrooge isn't really there. And Scrooge is just like, he feels compelled to apologize because he knows it's his fault. That scene is probably the best scene in this movie, and it's one of the best scenes in all of the Christmas Carol adaptations, and I love that scene. I enjoy this adaptation. I don't love this adaptation, and I really want to love this adaptation because Jim Carrey and Gary Oldman are two of my favorite actors of all time, but there's just some silly decisions that really hold this version back. It's a mixed bag. I enjoy this one. I'll still watch it fairly often, like not every year, but every couple of years, and I don't ever regret watching it, but it's one of those things where if I'm offered to watch this one or the Alastair Sim one or maybe a different one, the Patrick Stewart one, I'm probably gonna pick that one, honestly. And that's the thing with making adaptions and remakes and stuff, you have to have a valid reason to make it or it just seems kind of pointless. And their reason to make this one was their new technology, the new advances in technology that could allow them to do new, better, crazy things. And yeah, it was good in some places, but they went overboard with it. I think they tried too hard to prove that there was a reason to make this version, and there really wasn't. And it's only pretty good. And I would give it a 6.5 to a 7, and it's in that range somewhere where I'm like, I enjoy this one, but I don't love it. I love Jim Carrey, I love Gary Oldman, but the movie itself is not a perfect project. Also, it's weird, just some of the other animation choices too are weird. Bob Cratchit is really short, which like it is a good contrast between him and Scrooge. Scrooge is really tall. He almost kind of looks like Jack Skellington, like his body shape. And that's fine. I like the contrast between Scrooge being over top of Bob Cratchit, who's so short. It's a very good stylistic choice. But then Bob Cratchit is shorter than all of his daughters too, and it's just weird. It's like, okay, if he's so short and his wife's about as short as him, why are his daughters giants? They should get on the WNBA team or something. They're huge, and I don't understand. It's just weird. If I had a biggest pet peeve about Jim Carrey in this movie, his portrayal of Christmas past is odd. I forget which one he's basing it off of, but it's one of the classic ones where the ghost of Christmas past talks like this, and it's weird and flowing, and he looks weird and acts weird. And Jim Carrey was kind of doing a nod to that. And it's funny, but it's funny in an SNL kind of way. Not in an actual movie kind of way. And I felt like Jim Carrey had poor directing in that area, where he was doing a funny impression, but that wasn't a time to be doing an impression. It should have just been a straight performance. But the directing for that allowed him to act as if this was SNL, and it shouldn't have been that for that. I like him a lot as Scrooge, and I like him a lot as the Ghost of Christmas Present. He doesn't really do much as the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. He just stands there and points, and he's fine. He doesn't really do anything. The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come in this is pretty forgettable as far as they go. There's some that are really good, and this one's just fine. But yeah, and the Ghost of Christmas Past is bizarre, and I don't like that. This movie did everything okay. It did a couple things pretty badly, and it did a couple things pretty good, but predominantly everything is just fine. And that's not a good enough reason to make a remake. You just do a Broadway show version of it or something. You don't need a whole nother movie. We've got a lot of these. I enjoy it, but not a lot. So that's what I thought. Definitely other Christmas carols worth watching over this one. You got the Alastair Sim one, you got the Patrick Stewart one, you got the 80s one. There's even a couple of musical ones that are good. There's some animated ones other than this that are fantastic. Check out my video about the Christmas carols ranked. You can check out that list and pick some out that you haven't seen and watch those. This one is, it's okay. And that's it. So that's what I thought, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this movie and what your favorite Christmas carol was. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy December. I'm going to keep doing these Christmas related videos all December long, so thanks for watching, guys. Bye.